Welcome back. In the last video, we made the animation for the lower body of this character. That still needs a bit of work, but not to worry, we'll get to it. In this video, we're going to work on the upper body of this character. So let's get started with that now. So I'm just going to turn on overlays and stop this animation, go to the first frame, turn off perspective, and go to the front view. Now I'm going to select the pelvis control, and what we want to do here is to copy the curve values from this control onto the chest control. So let's go to the animation tab, select the pelvis control, and I'm going to isolate the Z Euler rotations for this. So I'm just going to click here and then shift H to isolate it. It was already isolated, but in case you don't have it, then I can do A to select all the key values, and then just Control C to copy them, and then I can select the chest control. Alright, for the chest we need to make at least one entry for any copy pasting to work. So I'm just going to press I and set the rotations for this control here. So now I can do a drop down like so. Select the Z Euler rotations, shift H to isolate it. You'll see all the other eye icons turned off when I did that, and then I can just do Control V to paste it like so. Similarly, go back to the pelvis control, select the Y Euler, turn off the Z, A to select everything, copy. Now this doesn't work exactly like I wanted to, so do note that the low point is on the down over here, but when I go to the chest and turn this off, turn that on, isolate that, Control V, you'll see that the down is over there, not where I want it to be, but that's okay. So what I can do here is Alt A to deselect everything, select this bit, add a cycle modifier, and then do G3. Well, no, that's not right. Control C to undo that, or just right click to undo it, in fact, because I didn't finalize it. Now I can select everything with A, and now I can do G3 to move it to where I want it to be. So now you can see these two curve values have been copied to the chest control, but that's not quite right because it's a mirror copy, or rather it's an exact copy, and what we want is a mirrored copy. So if the pelvis is turned this way, we want the chest to be turned the other way. So what I'm going to do is select all of these, do Control M, and then by values over value equal to 0, and that'll just invert everything. So now if we look at the layout, or let me just go into post mode here, you'll see that this thing is turned that way while the chest is pointing the other way, and similarly for the twist, it is twisted back in this direction on this side, while the leg is in that direction on this side and the opposite on the other. So using the graph editor, we very quickly made it exactly the way we want it to be. Now this is obviously way too much rotation on the chest, so we can dampen it down, and we'll do that next. So back to the animation panel, and let's see what we can do. Now we probably also want to add a cycles to the Z values here, so I'm just going to select this bit. It's important to have the cursor on the first frame whenever you add a cycles modifier, so I'm just going to do that now. So we have a smooth transition on entry and exit for this graph. Now what we can do is let's just select this, and I'm going to press G and see what this value does. Okay, so this controls the twist, so I'm more interested in this one. So let's try this again, G, and well, we have to select this frame first. Now we try G, and you can see it turns it sideways. Now I think this value is a bit too much, so I'm going to do Shift H to isolate this curve, and then do A to select all of the keys. Then I can do S to scale it, Y to lock the axis, and then I can just bring this down like so. And now if we play the animation, you can see that it has changed and it's not quite as extreme as it was in the past, but we kept the Z what it was, so the twist backwards is what it used to be, but the sideways motion is dampened to a great degree now. So I'm just going to stop this and bring back the overlays, go to the front view, and then back to animations. I'm going to bring back both of these curves, and because they both have cycles, I can do A to select everything, G, and then -1. So what that means is that we've just added a bit of lag to the rotation on the top part of the character, so the pelvis will move first, and then the upper body will follow it a little bit later, so just a bit of lag here. Now back in the layout, let's go into pose mode and we can work on the arms. Now before we get into this, we have to look at another tool that comes with Blender. So I'm going to select this shoulder clavicle control here, and then just do calculate 1 and 26. So this contact, the last one is on frame 25, so one more than that. Okay, so 26, and I will just select tails and do OK. So that'll give me a kind of a graph here of a path of motion. So similarly, I'll do the same for this thing, tails, and for this thing, tails. Alright, so because of the way we constructed this animation using the graph editor, we get this sort of figure 8 for free, and this is exactly what we want. So the animation for the arm is just us manipulating this figure 8 into different shapes. Now the first thing I'm going to do is adjust the shoulders a little bit. Now if you see here, these shoulders kind of pulled back. Now I used Untitled script to match this character's pose to be the same as that of the Unreal Engine 4 mannequin. And the Epic A pose has shoulders that are really swept back. So first I'm going to fix this. So I'm just going to select this shoulder control here, go to the first contact position, and let me just take the top view with 7 on the numpad, and then what I can do is R to rotate, Z to lock axis, and just bring this forward, something like that. And then I can do Control C and then Shift Control V to fix the other side. And as you see, as we make changes to the body, all of these motion paths get updated as we go along, but sometimes you have to manually click on this button here to update these paths. Okay, so this is looking okay for now. Now what I want to do next is to turn this off, and I'm going to modify some of these options here. So I'm going to turn off the torso. We are not working on the legs right now, and I'm going to bring in the IK controls for the arms, and I'm going to turn off the FK controls for the arms. Okay, now, well, maybe we can keep the FKs just for reference. Now, because recording is off, anything I do here is not going to make any changes to the animation, so I can just set this to IK and then move the arm into place roughly where I want it to be. So rotate it like this, go to the side view, grab this, move it like so, and just put it roughly in place like that. that seems well enough to start with. We can always adjust this later. So now what I can do is select this IK control and then do snap FK to IK. Alright, so the FK controls get updated. Similarly for the other side, snap FK to IK and go back to full FK mode for this one. Same for the other one, and then now we can turn recording back on. I'm going to turn off the IK arms and then select both of the FK bones, both arms, and then do I and save the rotation so our contact position for the first frame gets saved. Then I can do Alt-A to deselect everything and then just select this arm and copy this pose and then select the last frame and then paste it over here as is. Right, and then we can go to the center contact position, take the side view. I will select just this upper arm here, rotate it forward like so, and there we go. There are our figure eights, and animating the arm is just manipulating these figure eights to be of different shapes. So we're going to work on this side first, and then we'll do the second arm. Okay, I'm just going to isolate this one arm, so that would be the right one. And then we can add some additional keys for this lower arm. Okay, so we have a key for the first contact position, so I'm just going to add one for the second one, rotation, and then we already have one for the third one. I'm also going to mark the passing positions, so rotation on this and rotation on the other pass position. And we can also update paths, so these colored positions are where there are keys and the other ones are where there are no keys. And blue is in the future and green is in the past. So as we move forward, it's going to go towards blue and green will be behind us. Okay, so we have keys in the middle, we have keys on the extreme forward and backward positions. So I'm also going to put keys on the ups and downs. So rotation here, rotation there, rotation here, rotation there, and update the paths. Okay, so let's look at this bit over here. So I'm just going to go to 10 and I will rotate it just slightly forward. Okay, so select the arm bone and rotate it just a little bit forward, and then I'll go to 16. So you can see this is 10, right down opposite it is 16, and I'm going to rotate this forward as well. Now what this is doing is it's compressing the distance between these keys. Alright, so for motion paths, the longer this distance is, the faster the movement will be. Alright, so we can see it very clearly just from the motion path. So right along here, the arm will be moving fast, and then it'll slow down, more this part will be moving very slowly, and then it'll speed up and just gain speed all the way back here. Now let's do something similar for the other side at the back end. So we'll go to frame 22 and just move it a little bit forward like so, and then on frame 4 we can move this back as well. Now if I play this, the motion might be a little jerky, but that's okay. We can go to the animation panel here, the graph editor, and we can try to smooth out the curve here. So let's say we get rid of some keys just to make it make these transitions a little bit smoother. Now we don't make any changes to the location curve, so we can turn those off, and we don't make any changes to the scale curve, so it's just the rotations that we have changed. Okay, so that's a little smoother. Okay, I just picked some keys at random and then obliterated them, but you might want to plan this out a little. So if you have a particular motion in mind, you will have to pick and choose. But this is a really short video, so I just picked a few keys at random and just smoothed out the curves. So that's the basic idea here. So now we're going to do something similar for the hand. So let's just go into pose mode. Same thing for the hand. I'm going to store the rotation values for the passing position, the second contact, and the other passing position. Okay, so now I can just rotate the hand. Okay, for the other side, let me just get the turn off. Okay, first let's just get the IK for the other side first. Okay, I'm going to turn off recording for this. Go to the second contact position. Well, at the first contact position, this hand is already out here, and I should probably turn these off as well. So cancel those. We don't need this anymore. And do we have keys for the first contact position? Yes, we do. Okay, so for the second contact position, we need to move this arm back. Recording is off, so I can switch to IK without it messing up the animation. And I will just move this arm back, like over there, or something like that. Then I can just snap the FKs to the IK, and I can turn on recording again, get rid of the IK arm, and then just select all of these and do I rotation, and then okay, I have to switch to FK first. Then I can copy these three positions and put them on the last frame. So it's like this, and now this arm is moving as well. Okay, and you can polish the movement of this arm just like we did for the other one. I'm not going to in this video because it's getting a bit long, and this is, well, it's not good, it's not great, but it's passable. And especially if it's in a game kind of like a secondary or background character, I would use this. That's it for the upper body. In the next video, we're going to see how we can export this animation from Blender and get it into Unreal Engine with the proper epic skeleton. If you enjoyed this video, if you want more of this type of content, please hit the subscribe and like buttons. It helps a lot, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.